Hello and welcome to Stokefire's unprecedented third live markup. Today we'll be talking about our Strategic Identity Project for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, otherwise known as DARPA. This is the agency President Eisenhower created less than 6 months after Sputnik was launched by the Russians to ensure that the US would never again be surprised by the technology of another nation. Never heard of them? Well, you know their work. They developed the rocket that took our astronauts to the moon. They built the backbone of the internet. They invented stealth aircraft, GPS technology, and planes that fly without pilots. More recently, they've been busy working on stuff like synthetic blood, cybernetic insects, flying submarines, cars that blind people can drive, and prosthetic hands that can play piano. And that's just the stuff they're allowed to tell us about. If you think something is impossible, chances are actually pretty good that DARPA is working on it. DARPA's dual mission is to maintain technological superiority of the US military and to prevent technological surprise from harming our national security. The problem? The way they were portraying themselves visually wasn't connected to their mission. It spoke more to the Sputnik era than tomorrow's technology. In fact, if you look at their previous logo and then consider other logos like it, you'll find this style, called a map projection, very common in the 50s and early 60s. DARPA may have started the trend, but it developed a pretty strong 60s tech and travel vibe from all the copycats. Consistency and messaging were a concern too. The map projection wasn't real, and the application of the bars appeared to be holding the planet prisoner, not necessarily a good thing, and the lettering had been stretched and moved so many times that it had become out of balance. We had to resolve these and other issues in a way that was subtle enough to avoid the sorts of attention the glitzy overhauls received. Maybe you remember the Missile Defense Agency's redesign that had been compared to the Islamic Crescent and the Obama logo, or the United States Cyber Command logo that had an embedded code that was broken within hours of launch. Ultimately, they weren't looking for anyone to comment on the design at all. They just wanted to better communicate their mission in the modern era. Just as a refresher, here's what was in use at the start of the project, and here's the final product. The font is clean, bright, and easy to read. Rather than caging the planet, we've made the map projection an integral part of the world. It's basically got just the right vibe for an organization that's charged with protecting our country. But the question is, what about the other side? How can we represent the technological superiority we present to our enemies? Through one incredibly low-tech transition, I present to you the answer. Same logo, one hell of a different feel. What was crisp and clear on white becomes mysterious and threatening on black. Think about it. A logo that's nearly self-aware? That has to be DARPA's. So did we meet the challenge? We brought it into the modern era. We developed a strategy that's internally consistent. There's been no public comment on the project since it launched almost a year ago, and both sides of the mission are there in black and white. Many thanks to the DARPA Strategic Communications Project team for pushing us to meet the challenge. Everyone else, you can learn more about DARPA at darpa.mil, a website we helped to develop. And that's it. You've reached the end of live markup number 3. Tune in again next time to learn about another one of Stokefire's projects. Hope you enjoyed our live markup, and if you did, make sure to drop us a note. Thanks for checking us out.